Everybody, I'm here at one of the edges that I think's got about a fair representation of what's an average across the whole garden. And you can see I'm sitting at only about 3 inches, which is only half of what we're supposed to be shooting for. We're supposed to get about 4 to 6 inches on this from what Paul recommends. So you can see what I'm working with here. And I'm just really desperate to go ahead and get this started because we started seedlings in the house a long time ago, and if I don't hurry up and put them out, I'm going to have ears of corn growing off the top of my kitchen table and not in the ground. But you can see how far I've been able to get, and it's actually about, I'd say, 1/3 of the garden probably, which makes sense. I was expected to get about 1/5 of the garden with as much wood chips as I had, but that was guessing at 4 inches thick, and I'm using 3 inches here. So I got further than I should have because I used less. But I'm going to go ahead and mark some of this off and tell you about something else we're going to do this year, and go ahead and get some plants in the ground today because we're expecting rain for the next few days, and then I'll be off. It'll be another week before I'm off again, so we got to get something in the ground today or we're going to have problems. Okay everybody, so here's the big surprise. I'm not sure how well you can see the white string on the white wood chips, but we have an area separated out for Squarefoot gardening and an area separated out for a traditional row planting. So that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to compare Squarefoot gardening method versus a traditional row. Now this is all being done with the back to Eden method using the wood chips and such. But the reason we want to try this is, number one, we've always had the question, which one was really better, which one was easier, better production, all those questions. But also because it just kind of makes sense. When we're talking about back to Eden, we're talking about putting nature back the way that it originally was, the way that God put it. So when you think about how are plants situated in nature, I'm not familiar with them being in rows. I'm familiar with them being in clumps. So it kind of makes me think about Squarefoot gardening, how we plant things closer together. They almost look like little clumps. So I kind of think it complements back to Eden and keeps the whole process in a more natural way. But we're going to try both because we don't know which way's better. And that's what we have set up here. So we will update you on that throughout the rest of the year. Now we're going to go ahead and put some of the seedlings we already have down, as well as some new seeds, and we'll show you that in just a minute. Alright everybody, here's what we had started inside the house, and no fair picking on us, we used what we had. So obviously you can tell the sweet corn. We've got a tray here of lavender and rosemary that has not really taken off yet. Some parsley. We've got a tray full of pepper peas and cucumbers, artichokes, tomatoes, and sunflowers. And to be quite honest, we're not entirely sure where the broccoli, lettuce, and onions ended up. So if it's not obvious to me what is what, we're just going to plant the plants that look the same next to each other and hope for the best. Now I do have a selection of organic seeds that I'm also going to try. Everything else that I just showed you is probably hybrid because the seed packages don't mention being organic, so I'm guessing that they're not. But this is what we're going to start off with. Okay everybody, this is where we're going to call it quits for today. We've got some storms moving in and it's time just to pack it up and get it back in the house. But we did get most of the seedlings that have started out into the ground. I do need to mention to you one thing that's not too equal about this test. I'm not planting the same varieties in the Squarefoot garden that I am in the row garden. But I'm not looking for scientific results. I'm just trying to find out, generally speaking, which method is easier to do, easier to maintain, and gives me a little bit more results as far as the amount of produce that I get out of the area. So that said, the Squarefoot gardening didn't really step off on the right foot with me today. It was very difficult getting through about 4 inches of wood chips to get down to the ground and plant, anywhere from 4 to 8 plants in this little square foot area. So it might just be a lesson learned that next time if we want to do this, that we do the planting and then put the wood chips on later. I'm not sure, but I do know that the square foot area took at least 10 times as long as doing the rows. So we're still going to keep moving forward. We're going to still keep working on a square foot garden section, but those are the first impressions, and those tend to mean a lot. We'll come back and give you an update every week on how the plants are developing, as well as putting out the rest of the chips and finishing out the rest of the garden. But for today, this is where we stand. We've got lettuce and onions, cayenne peppers and potatoes and corn and peas and broccoli and a bunch of other stuff in the ground. So as they come up and they're a little bit more fun to talk about, we'll show them to you then. But until now, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a good day.